Sometimes it feels like our kids' brains are race cars, super fast, super powerful, and built for big things. But the problem is they can sometimes seem outfitted with bicycle brakes. The speed is there, but slowing down and stopping can feel nearly impossible. If you've ever seen that play out in your child's emotions, reactions, or impulsivity, you're not alone. So grab your coffee and get ready to take some notes. Today, I'm sharing the race car brain analogy, a story you can use to explain your child's wiring in a way that helps them understand their strengths, potential struggles, and the tools that can help them handle things and even learn better control. Welcome to Calm Connection Parenting, where we buckle up for the emotional roller coaster of raising intense and highly sensitive kids and discover some amazing things along the way. I'm your host, Jamie Kirkbride, a mom of 7, parenting coach, professional counselor, and your guide through the wild world of meltdowns, challenging behaviors, and big emotions. If you're exhausted and overwhelmed, feeling like you're always one step away from chaos, searching for a little calm in your day, then you're in the right place. Here, you'll find practical tools and faith-based strategies to transform your family. Together, we'll laugh, we'll learn, and we'll figure out how to turn those messy meltdowns into moments of connection. Let's jump in. When we start talking with our kids about their unique wiring, it's so important to make those conversations positive, to keep them open, ongoing, and built on strengths, not something that we hold over their heads or even cast that little bit of shame. Every one of us is wired differently, and our children were created for a special purpose, even in the ways their brains work. Sometimes, though, it can help to put words and even pictures around what life with DMDD or ADHD or emotional intensity actually feels like. People have described it in so many ways, like maybe flipping through TV channels while someone else holds the remote, or like having way too many tabs open on a computer, or like trying to think with a buzzing beehive in your head. Others have likened it to being like an iceberg, where the part you see on the surface is only a small piece of what's really going on inside. These pictures remind us that our children aren't broken, but they do experience the world in a way that looks and feels very different. And when we frame it that way, we can help them see their wiring as something to understand and learn to work with, not something that they need to be embarrassed or ashamed of. This is why I love the race car brain analogy. Out of all the pictures we could use, this one just seems to maybe be the easiest for kids to grasp. And you have to admit, it carries with it a sense of something really neat, cool, and admirable. Kids don't usually light up when you tell them their brain is like a messy browser window, but tell them it's like a fancy race car, and now, well, you've got their attention. So let's imagine it together. Picture your child's brain as this sleek, fancy race car. It's fast, it's powerful, it's admired by everyone who sees it. That's the strength side of their wiring, their creativity, their quick thinking, thinking outside the box, their energy, the way they notice things that many other people would just miss. This car is undoubtedly built for something amazing. But really think about it. This race car is fast, powerful, and built for big things. And that's exactly how many of our uniquely wired kids are. They're full of energy, creativity, and quick responses. Their brain has this amazing ability to see things, feel things, and act quickly in ways that others can't. And truly, that is a strength worth celebrating. Now, of course, like any race car, there can be challenges too. Speed can be exciting, but it can also be hard to handle without the right training and tools. That's where the rest of this story comes in and why this analogy can really be a helpful tool for you and your child, or maybe even other adults that you're trying to explain your child's unique wiring. When I talk with kids and parents about DMDD, ADHD, emotional intensity, or even just neurodiversity, one of the best pictures I found is this race car brain. You've probably heard the classic version of it. Yes, that's that it's like a race car with bicycle brakes. These kids' brains are fast, powerful, and built for big things, but sometimes the brakes just don't match the engine. They can go from 0 to meltdown in seconds, and stopping that kind of speed isn't easy. But I think that this analogy can go so much further, and it can become an even richer story that helps kids understand themselves and some of those features that come along with DMDD or ADHD, sometimes anxiety, and that emotional intensity. And it helps them understand in a way that offers some strength and acceptance instead of shame. So let's start with the fun part. Yes, your child's brain is powerful, sleek, sharp. It's that fancy race car. It's impressive. It's built for amazing things. And the strength side of their wiring includes their creativity, quick responses, and yes, the way they pay attention to all of those little details that can be so easily missed by others. This car isn't broken, it's just designed differently, and it's designed with a special purpose. Reflect for just a minute on this. Think about your child. What's one area where you see their race car shine? Maybe it's the way they come up with creative solutions or how quickly they learn new skills. Maybe it's their incredible energy. You should jot that down, maybe even whisper it out loud right now, because remembering your child's strengths helps us frame the struggles with a little bit more compassion. Now, many race cars have that turbo button. For our kiddos, that turbo button shows up as impulsivity, the emotions or actions that shoot forward before there's time to think. Sometimes it looks like interrupting, blurting out, overreacting. That's not defiance, it's that turbo kicking in. It can feel exciting, but it can cause a crash if there's no plan for handling that surge of speed. Think about a recent time your child's turbo kicked in. How did it feel in the moment for them? How did it feel for you? Now imagine what it might feel like if you could name it with a little bit less shame. Whoa, your turbo boost just kicked in. Let's figure out how to handle this. How would that shift the energy between you and your child? Now we know when turbo boost kicks in, it can be exciting. But what happens when it's time to slow down? That's where one of these challenges shows up, the brakes. Now, this is the classic part of this analogy with the brakes that don't always match the engine. The car can be flying at 200 miles an hour, but when it's time to slow down, the brakes can feel more like handbrakes that you'd find on a bicycle. And stopping quickly with those brakes isn't easy. That's what meltdowns or strong reactions can feel like. It takes some work and effort to slow down that kind of speed. And it's not that your child is refusing to calm down. They may literally just not have the braking power needed in that moment. When have you expected your child to just stop it or calm down quickly? What would shift if instead you pictured those bicycle brakes struggling against a 200 mile per hour engine? How might that change the words you use, the supports that you offer, or maybe even the patience that you bring next time? And that's why meltdowns can feel so intense. The brakes just aren't strong enough to stop the speed. But here's the good news. As parents, we don't have to handle this road alone. I want to share something that can help. If you've been wishing for more tools, some encouragement, maybe a step-by-step strategy or approach for raising your uniquely wired child, I'd love for you to check out the Calm Connection Parent Coaching Program. It's a place where you don't have to figure this out alone. Let me tell you just a little bit about it. Parenting a uniquely wired child can feel isolating, right? While other parents are talking about typical tantrums and bedtime battles, you're navigating emotional meltdowns, sensory overload, or challenging behaviors that many people just don't understand. It can be frustrating when the advice you hear just doesn't fit your child, and even harder when you feel like you're alone in the journey. But here's the truth. You don't have to settle for just surviving. In the Calm Connection Parent Coaching Program, I'll help you understand your child's unique wiring and give you faith-based practical strategies to not only manage the emotions and challenging behaviors, but actually help your whole family thrive. With video course, workbooks, a supportive community, and weekly coaching calls, you'll get personalized support every step of the way. If you're ready to stop feeling alone and start finding real solutions that work for you, your child, and your family, then visit calmconnectionparent.com to learn more. Together, let's move you from surviving to thriving. Let's do this. All right, let's get back to the racetrack. We've talked about the fancy car and struggles with brakes, but there's another challenge that shows up in a race car brain. Sometimes it's not about stopping, it's about shifting. And that brings us to the struggle of flexibility and transitions. Sometimes that race car gets stuck in one gear. It revs and revs, but it doesn't shift. It's stuck. For our kids, that looks like difficulty moving on from disappointment, changing tasks, handling schedule changes, or letting go of an argument with a sibling. Their brain just keeps revving in the same spot, making a lot of noise even when everyone else has already moved on. Think of a situation recently where your child couldn't shift gears. Did you find yourself getting frustrated, thinking, why can't you just move on? You might imagine instead that they're revving in neutral. What tool or gentle nudge could you use to help them find the next gear? And sometimes, even if the gears are working, there's another layer. Sometimes the noise is just too loud, or the windshield can get foggy. Picture for a moment your car radio stuck on loud. That's sensory overload. The lights, the sounds, the textures, they don't just fade into the background like they do for others. They blare like a stereo blasting but can't be turned down in the moment. Add to that sometimes, at usually an inopportune time, the windshield fogs up. Well, that's overwhelm. Emotions build up, stress piles on, and suddenly it feels impossible to see the road ahead. And until that fog clears, everything feels confusing and overwhelming. It can cause us to struggle to see things clearly or trust our perspective or what we could see through the fog. Has your child ever melted down in a noisy store or covered their ears when no one else seemed bothered? That's their radio stuck on loud. Or maybe they've frozen in the middle of trying to do their homework, like the windshield is fogged up. What helps you turn down the volume or clear your own fog? Maybe you could offer a similar tool to quiet the noise or help clear the view for them. Now, when the ride is feeling noisy or the view is clouded, finding the way can get even harder. And sometimes that's where our GPS system comes in. And for our kids, Unfortunately, it doesn't always give a clear route. The GPS is another tricky one. For most of us, the GPS quietly leads us where we need to go. But in a race car brain, it's constantly recalculating or starting over. Or, as maybe that annoyed voice can remind us, rerouting. And it's not a very kind voice that reminds. Instead, it can feel impatient and even shaming. Well, this GPS issue is what executive function struggles can look like. Trying to plan, organize, or stay on track when the system keeps changing the route. It's not laziness. It's a GPS that won't hold steady and stick to the original plan. And that annoying voice can represent that inner talk that can feel pretty discouraging and even shaming. Think of a time your child had trouble finishing something simple. Maybe it's just getting ready for school in the morning, cleaning their room, or getting that finished homework actually turned in. Did it feel like they were stalling on purpose? Well, imagine the GPS in their brain keeps saying rerouting. What small step could you give them next time to make the path more clear? How can you help them feel less shame or guilt when they need the support so that their inner talk doesn't discourage themselves? Now, all of these challenges to the race car that often works well, but sometimes experiences some quirks or issues, can feel a bit overwhelming. But here's the hopeful part. Even the fastest car doesn't win alone. Yeah, that's where the pit crew comes in. The fastest car in the world isn't going to win a race if they're all by themselves. They will have a pit crew. And this pit crew is going to help them refuel, change the tires, fix the brakes, and, they're going to help get that car back on the right track. This could be parents, teachers, therapists, coaches, doctors, counselors, and even some healthy friendships that are pit crews for our kids. Remember, the car isn't broken, it just needs help or people who support them along the way. Who's part of your child's pit crew right now? Maybe there's a teacher who gets it. Maybe a counselor who's a really good support. Maybe a spouse, a co-parent, or someone in your extended family. Who else could you invite in to help support your child so you don't feel like you're helping this car along all by yourself? So your child doesn't feel like they're managing this journey all by themselves. I have a great resource to help you get some of these people enlisted as part of your team, as part of your pit crew. It's called the Behind the Behaviors Quick Guide, What You Need to Know About a Uniquely Wired Child. Be sure to get your free copy today at calmconnectionparent.com/behindthebehaviors. You will love the tips, the strategies, and even a letter that has already been drafted for you to share with key people in your child's life. Maybe it's extended family. Maybe it's a teacher or a coach. These can be helpful people, and sometimes we just don't have the energy to try to recruit or educate them in how they can help or care. Now, as we bring this all together, I want you to picture your child's brain again as that wonderful, powerful race car. It's fast, sharp, and built for amazing things. Yes, it does have some quirks, a turbo that can take off too quickly, or bicycle brakes that can't slow down as fast as we might like, and gears that sometimes get stuck, or a radio that might blare a little too loud now and then, a windshield that might fog up at an inopportune time or a GPS system that sometimes starts rerouting. But none of these quirks mean the car is broken. They just mean it needs tools, maybe some practice, and support to learn to handle the speed or know how to work around some of those quirks. And most of all, it needs a pit crew with you, your calm encouragement, your steady presence, and the people you bring alongside your child as part of the team are what can help this fancy race car stay on the track. So the next time your child spirals into a meltdown or gets stuck in an argument or feels lost trying to finish a task, I want you to remember this picture. Don't see a broken down car. See the race car that's powerful, unique, and designed with purpose. And remind your child of that too. They were created uniquely and wonderfully for a very special purpose. And when they start to believe that their brain is strong, even when it's wired differently, they'll walk with more confidence and less shame. They'll know I'm not broken. I'm a pretty cool race car. I just need practice for those good brakes, clear roads, and a pit crew to help me drive my best. And that's a story that they can carry with them. It's a story of strength, support, and hope. Well, that's it for today. But the journey to calm parenting doesn't stop here. If you are nodding in agreement, laughing, or maybe even crying, don't worry, we've all been there. Make sure to share this podcast with a friend who might need it too. Don't forget to connect with us at parentingwithpersonality.com or join our Parenting with Personality Facebook group. I'd love to support you there. And until next time, you've got this. Just keep calm and parent on.